All right, this is One Last Midnight. Welcome back to another episode of Farthest Frontier. For those of you people who are interested in playing along with me while I'm doing this helpful guides, you can see the seed number is listed here, so you could just copy it down and play along if you want to. In this helpful guide, we're going to look at getting our village into Tier 2. In order to get to Tier 2, we're going to have to achieve a couple things. We're going to need at least 8 houses or at least 8 shelters. We're going to need to have a marketplace, and we're also going to need to have 30 villagers. Before that, though, we're going to have to really focus on food gathering, because even though we have a bunch of food that we came in with initially, it's going to spoil and go bad. As you can see, we're going to lose 5 food in the next 12 months because it's going to go bad and spoil. I have a game where I'm in year 100 and something. I don't remember what it is. And I have cattle, and they're grazing in the pastures. And what I really found is their grazing area is 10 by 10. And if you set up a farm that is 10 by 10, while it takes 5 workers in the beginning of the game, getting 5 farmers to work here is a little bit difficult. But towards the end or the middle of the game, whenever you get your cattle in and you get your ranching in, you can set them to graze on this field, and it'll significantly increase the fertility as they graze on that field. So I recommend that you set up your field size to be 10 by 10. All right, so I put my 4 fields down. I'm going to turn around and stop the construction on 3 of them. The other important thing is to protect the food, so I am going to fence in my fields. And this is going to take a very long time to build, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about it too much. We do have a storage cart. Our storage cart is kind of our temporary storage, and it's actually movable. So you can click this little wagon wheel with the arrow and move it to get it out of the way so that you can build other things that you might need in this area. Make sure you have enough smokehouses to process all of your raw resources, like the meat and the fish. Because I have 2 fishing areas that are producing significantly amount of fish. This one is producing 230% fish, and this one is producing 200% fish. It's good for me to get 2 smokehouses down. So if you're using this map, make sure you have at least 2 smokehouses down in the beginning. Otherwise, your fish is going to wind up spoiling. All right, I let time advance for a little bit. We're in late spring, and I want to move all of my berry bushes over so that they can be pretty close to my forager shack. So while you're paused, just grab all the berry bushes that are around. You can see them because they're purple. They've got berries in them, and just plant them down. Bushes or something might be in the way because I haven't cleared all these bushes out. But just move them closer. It'll take a little bit of time, especially since your workers are busy doing other things. But eventually all the berry bushes will get moved into one area, making it easier for them to harvest up. The next thing we want to focus on is getting down the stockyard. The stockyard is required. It's a required building in order to build the market. You'll actually need to build a storehouse and a saw pit. But in order to build a saw pit, you're going to need a stockyard. So again, the stockyard is one of the first things we want to put down. And once it's complete, we can put down other things. Now that the stockyard has been built, we can focus on putting down the saw pit. The saw pit is one of those buildings that's very undesirable, so make sure you put your saw pit off into your industrial area. All right, and my saw pit has now been completed. I've got 2 people working it, and they are going to produce planks. Planks are going to be needed for our next couple buildings. We've got a couple buildings that have unlocked that are really important for us to get down right away. So one is the compost yard. The compost yard is necessary because people produce garbage. If you click on a house, you can see that they've got some waste. If we let the waste accumulate in their houses, it will draw in rats, and rats will bring in disease. So let's get the compost yard in right away. It's going to take 15 planks. We don't have that yet, but as we start building up planks, they'll be used to build the compost yard. The compost yard is super dirty. It's high undesirability. Nobody wants to be around it, so make sure you have it in your industrial area. We also have the fletching building that's unlocked. Now, our hunters only have limited amount of arrows. Matter of fact, in our little storage area, we've got 130 arrows, and that's all the arrows that we have. So in order to have more arrows so that we can shoot wildlife, we're going to need to have a Fletcher's building. And I'm going to put the Fletcher's building down right here. Also, in our storage area, 2 other items have unlocked. We now have the storehouse, which we can use to store all items. And then we also have a root cellar, which will store food, and it will reduce the rate of spoilage. So let's put down a root cellar. I'm going to put it up next to my villager homes up here on the top. And I actually am going to put down 2. This is for future growth. You don't have to do this right now, but if you're following along, go right ahead. This one we can turn off the construction and it'll be built later. And let's get down the storehouse, since the storehouse is going to hold a large portion of our goods. And I want this kind of center town. All right, year 3 just happened. They finally cleared off all the fields, and they're actually prepping this field. All my workers are here working away to prep these fields. We're going to let them try to get this field ready to go so we can start possibly growing this year. Once this farm is complete, go into your villager professions, and like I said, it automatically assigned all of the workers to be farmers because it thinks it's got 4 big giant fields. Reduce that down to just 3 because that is going to be the number of people that we want to work that one farm right now until we have additional people to be able to get in there and work. And let's go ahead and assign the crops. Now, we're already partially into the growing season, but farming is a completely different animal. Farming has 3 factors that you really need to worry about. You need to worry about fertility, weeds, and rockiness. All the crops that you wind up adding have some sort of plus or minus to fertility. We're going to do what is called a plus fertility field, which peas actually add to fertility. So the impact in fertility is actually a plus. So we're going to put down beans. Then we're going to put down a layer of clover, which also is a plus to fertility. And then we're going to have our worker work on the field. And we're going to do this every single season. So these 2 items are going to add to fertility, which is going to increase my fertility to max, or at least as high as I can possibly get it with workers and clover. And my workers are going to get rid of weeds and rocks. This is going to take several years in order to get this field 100% up to maximum capacity. So don't worry about it because you're going to have plenty of peas. And you're getting a lot of fish and you're getting a lot of meat. So we're going to have plenty of food just with this one field. You can see our berry crop is doing very well. As people go out and explore and they expand your area, if you find any more blueberry bushes, make sure that you move them over and get them planted into your little blueberry patch. Our composter is now complete. So this guy will go out and start collecting any kind of waste and put it into the compost yard to create compost. There he goes. He's throwing away the garbage. Our root cellar is now complete. So any foods will start going in there and we'll start reducing the amount of spoilage that we have on a lot of our foods. Our Fletcher's now complete. He's going to start building arrows and he's also going to start building bows. This is something that you need to pay attention to because sometimes they produce way too much. So keep an eye that they're not producing way too much, because it'll just eat up your storage space. Our storage house is also complete. So now our storage house will store any of our additional goods that we might have laying around, and we'll take the burden off of our little storage cart that we have. Putting down the storehouse has fulfilled a couple requirements. So now if you look under resources, you can find several new items that have been unlocked. The basket shop. We also have the tanner or the cobbler shop, and we also have the tannery. Let's go ahead and put those items down as well. Let's put the tannery down. It's also a high polluting item. So you want to make sure that it is in your industrial area so that it's only producing undesirability over here. The cobbler shop we can kind of put in town. It doesn't really bother anybody. I'm going to put my cobbler shop down here. And our basket shop, we'll put our basket shop in this area. And we'll have a nice little production area sitting over here with our Fletcher, our basket shop, and our cobbler. Now, while we're building a couple things, let's also put down some more wells because we only really have one well. So I want to put down another well in this area down here. I also want to put a well over here. And lastly, let's put a well down here. All right, we're going into year 4. It looks like we have plenty of food. Our people are just working away. Most of the buildings that we laid down are complete. The tannery is complete. They're going to be making the hide coats. We've also got our basket shop making baskets, which is great because that allows people to carry more. And it looks like we have our cobbler just about to be built. And he's built and he'll start making shoes out of some of the pelts. Also, our field is starting to produce. It'll start producing peas. We have a little bit of a problem because our fence is not complete. And you can see the deer are going to come over and they're going to enjoy some of our yummy peas. Not really what we want to have happen, but we're almost done with this fence. And once the fence is complete, we won't have to worry about the deer eating our food anymore. Even though they are eating, we're producing somewhere around 600, close to 700 peas per season. Which is not bad. That's a lot of peas. At least for a village this size. And our fence looks like it's 100% complete, so we're in good shape. Our crops are protected from here on out. We're going to get to max capacity pretty fast on the root cellar, so let's build the second root cellar. And we're getting to max capacity on our people. We're at 35, so let's put down some more housing. All right, we've gotten to the stage in the game where we've got pretty much everything built. It's time to get down a marketplace. I'm going to put the marketplace up on top over here. Pay attention to the radius of the marketplace. The marketplace, when it gets upgraded, actually expands out its radius of influence. You want to make sure that everybody around the marketplace, all of our housing, is contained within the radius. And I'm going to place this right here because this looks like a really good place for the marketplace. The only other thing that we haven't really placed down yet is the graveyard. The graveyard is a one-shot. Once you place down the graveyard, you cannot move the graveyard. So make sure that you have it placed in an area which is going to be fine for you because, like I said, this is something that you cannot move once it's placed down. I think my graveyard actually would be better placed if I put it out this way and have a little graveyard out over here. We'll do a little decent size graveyard. I think that looks pretty good. Once the marketplace is built and we have somebody working in the marketplace, you want to pay attention to the foods that go into the marketplace because the foods that are stored in the marketplace actually spoil a lot faster. So you can control what goes into the marketplace by unchecking these items. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck all of these food items because right now, currently, I really only want them to be kept in our root cellar. And because there's a little bit of a defect with the marketplace, I'm going to fire our guy and then rehire him. And then that way he'll know not to stock anything. There are no more items left to build in this first tier. And we're ready to go to tier 2. The only thing that you need for tier 2 is you need to make sure that you have enough wood planks and enough stones. Otherwise, we've met all the other requirements to go up to tier 2. My recommendation at this point in time would not to be go to tier 2. It'd be to hold off for a little bit. We have a predator in town. We have a bear. So let's have everybody attack the bear. He's going to kill somebody. Okay, we got the bear too. Good. We got a couple villagers that were attacked. One was killed. It's a good thing that we put in our graveyard. We lost one person. But as I was saying, it's you don't have to immediately go into tier 2. You can wait and have your village build up a little bit. Matter of fact, I would stabilize food first. I would make sure that the weed level is down to 0 and that the rockiness is down to 0. My fertility is as max as I can possibly get it. get a couple extra people in our village of professions. We don't have enough laborers. We don't have enough farmers yet. So wait for that growth to happen before you start progressing into tier 2, or before you hit that button to go to tier 2. Other than that, if you're risky, just go ahead and hit the button and go. But right now we have really solid growth. Our village is looking great and we're thriving. We've got 11 food to last for the year. We've got plenty of fish. We've got a lot of dried fish, a lot of dried meat. We don't have a lot of raw meat or raw fish, so it's not going to spoil that quickly. We've got some vegetables. Every spring we get berries from our blueberry area. We're not going to have any pickled stuff until later in the game. We're not going to have any dairy stuff until later in the game. So those are things you don't need to worry about right away. If we look at our chart, you can see that our production for food is really high. Our consumption is lower than that, so we've got a plus. Our spoilage is kind of low. We have 0 that's stolen so far, which is really, really, really nice. So that's it for this guide, getting to tier 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, take your time with it, because if you grow too fast, that's usually what kills off your village. You have too many mouths to feed. You're not producing enough food. And you saw how long it takes to get a crop field up and running. So it's not something that you're instantly going to produce. You need to plan ahead. At any rate, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Would love to have you in the community. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find the links in the description below. And make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.